Senator Francis Heidegger, you're recognized for your 7 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the testifiers. Good morning to the people of the Virgin Islands. The first thing I want to ask, because for me as a new senator, my goal is to try to find out what is specifically happening in all the departments in order to help you do a better job so you could service the community better. Something as simple as street lights. Does the department partner with WAPA to make sure that street lights are working? Because the safety of the public and potentially deterring crime, this could be part of just utilizing and doing something very simple in order to assist with that.
Yes, we have presented to Water and Power and Public Works and the likes to address those types of issues. Chief Elsko has personally contacted the authority in certain areas to address the need for additional utility to include lighting of specific areas.
And what is their response? What has been their response?
Chief Elsko, if you can reference that example I just gave.
Yes, we've worked with WAPA to put up streetlights in Scion Farm, Grove Place, and other areas. Typically, WAPA works with us well.
What about the areas that they have gone down for years? How do you monitor that to make sure that they are up for the safety of the public as well to assist in deterring crime?
We do make notes of when lights are down. We do contact WAPA, but not every time. Sometimes there are things that take precedent over that, and they respond as they can.
Okay, so we have to do better at follow-up because I get a lot of complaints about street lighting. Quickly,
yes, ma'am.
The consent decree, line 119, line 28 of the commissioner's testimony. When it comes to the consent decree, why do you think? How long have we been in the consent decree, and why do you think we're still stuck there?
Yes. So we've been in a consent decree from 2009, an active consent decree. We, over the years, I think we've gotten progressively better in terms of demonstrating constitutional policing, which has now taken us closer to the end game. There are differences when it comes to our position along with that of the independent monitoring team. And then we go before the courts and the judge makes a determination, and we're in fact supported by the Department of Justice here in our territory. So it's one of those things where we're flushing things out, and oftentimes there is discord and disagreement between us as the Virgin Islands Police Department. As we have said time and time again, no police department is perfect. Although we may pursue perfection, we will never get there. And so therefore, we're doing the best possible job that we can in many areas.
So how close are you? How close are you to the end game? I see you have to head back to court on February the 25th. So how close are you to this end game?
We're in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
For all intents and purposes, we're close. The judge has recognized that VIPD has come a long way and is doing a lot of the things. If I can defer this question to my Deputy Commissioner Marsh, again, I think he can also chime in on that.
Okay.
Yeah, good morning, Senator. Thank you for the question again. As the Commissioner said, I think as a department, we're very close. Compared to 2009 when we started, we have created the policies, conducted the trainings that are necessary to ensure that we are compliant with the consent decree. As a matter of fact, with training, we have been in compliance with training for almost over the past 2 years of substantial compliance period. So as we are very close to it.
I appreciate it. Commissioner, quickly on line 119 of your testimony, you spoke about you obligated $20 million of the disaster recovery funds. What exactly did you obligate these funds for, and what else are you looking to be reimbursed for the total amount?
3 minutes.
Yes. So I'll have my CFO talk on that issue, Director Webster.
Okay, hold my time, please. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Webster.
Hi, this is Miss Webster. I'm sorry, I was moving to someplace more
Oh,
comfortable.
wow. Okay.
Could we repeat the question?
I was asking the question as to the obligation of this $20 million by the police department, and what is the total amount you're looking to get reimbursed, and what exactly was this obligation for?
We expect to get reimbursed for the total amount of the 20 million. It was for overtime, equipment purchases, mold remediation, and food, travel during Hurricane Irma and Maria.
And so this fund, Senator, it's reimbursed to the government of the Virgin Islands. And so the Virgin Islands Police Department has been successful in getting that money obligated to be returned to the coffers.
So is there any
of the Virgin
additional,
Islands.
is there anything additional that you're expecting in reimbursement, or this is the total amount?
We have other reimbursements that are due to us. They're going through the process, so once they get obligated, we will know exactly how much we're supposed to be getting
So
reimbursed.
you
to
have,
us.
you're saying you have bills, but you don't know how much the total of your bills are?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Explain.
What I'm saying is we have other project worksheets that are going through the process
Okay.
with FEMA. So until they're obligated, we don't know how much of that is going to be obligated. So we're waiting for those items to also be obligated to get a dollar figure on those.
Do you have, okay. If you're submitting worksheets, don't you submit them with a dollar amount? Or it's just worksheets and you have no clue how much it's gonna cost?
We submit the worksheets. Once they're obligated, we will know a dollar amount. We don't submit them because FEMA will decide what it is they will obligate and what it is they will not obligate. So we're in the process of putting some worksheets together to be submitted to FEMA.
The obligations are usually to know how much you're gonna be reimbursed. So I just want clarity. When you submit them, they're not submitted with a dollar amount. They're just submitted and that's it.
They are submitted with a dollar amount.
Well, that is what I'm asking you. Can you tell me, do you know the total amount that you have been submitting so far so we can get an idea? It's one thing to be reimbursed, but it's one thing to turn in bills. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Time.
Okay, the project worksheets that we turn in, I'm trying to be very clear about what I'm trying to say is that the project worksheets that we're turning, we submit them to FEMA. So we submit with a dollar amount. Those obligations are submitted through with O'Brien. So I don't have a dollar figure. Once they're obligated, then we know how much they're obligated.
So you don't have it. So Whit O'Brien would be the one that, through the chair, could I make a request so we can get some idea as to how much these obligations are, how much we're turning in for these worksheets so we can get a better idea of what's happening?
Yes,
Please.
Senator. Noted.
Thank you. The other question I want to ask quickly, when it comes to creating these potential state-of-the-art police stations, because I and my staff attended quite a bit of these tours. And I will say that I do recognize that our police department is in great need of being upgraded and put into modern day when it comes to where our officers have to work. What I want to know, are we utilizing or attempting to utilize any of the community development grant blank monies in order to try to get some of these state-of-the-art police stations built, et cetera? Could you expound a little bit on your search? I know land has been appropriated through laws. Tell us a little bit of your process in trying to get this done.
Okay, I'm going to defer this question to Dr. Fed, who's the acting administrator.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To the platform. Yes, we have looked at the CDBG grants, and as far as the one particular project that we're looking at in St. Thomas, we're looking at the potential of not being able to receive the grant because of the actual flood zone there, but we are definitely still looking into other options. And we will definitely be pursuing other CDGP grants in order to assist us. And I think, as we stated before, Honorable Whitaker, Heidegger, I apologize, is that the challenge for us is that the grants would not provide the entire amount.
Okay.
And so with the applying for them, then you got to make sure that we have the additional funding after we have that state-of-the-art layout.
Well, you said you're not able to get the grant because of a flood zone. Was that for one particular piece of land, or have you looked for other locations? And if you do find another location, does it still allow you to go ahead and continue to apply for this grant?
Yes. So thank you for that, and asking that and expounding on it a bit. Yes. So we are still looking for other properties that we could in turn try to transfer over that to the grant application. However, right now we're still looking for the actual land, and we're still actually waiting to hear the final say on that particular project, because we still may be able to utilize the spot that we have for the CDBG, but we may have to do something else with it as far as maybe a target hardening space that we can utilize in that particular community.
Thank you very much. May I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Get over it. The question I want to ask, line 159, the spot shotter system. Please explain to the public. I see here in line 159 that it did not go online until June 2020. What I would like to know is, as of June 2020, how long did you have the shot spotter system, and why did it take so long to go online?
So thank you for that, Senator. So ShotSpotter is a technology system that alerts to the sound of gunshots in a particular area. We had ShotSpotter in the territory prior to up until the hurricanes of 2017. In late 2019, we then solicited ShotSpotter to come back into the territory so we can potentially utilize the technology. We negotiated with ShotSpotter. We went through the procurement process, and between late 2019 and June of 2020, they were able to come here on several occasions, take a look, meet with our team, identify those locations, and then build out the system. So as a result, we were able to get that in. Once it arrived here and implemented in June of 2020, ShotSpotter has been consistent. It's been utilized consistent for the last 8 months or so between June and now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for your indulgence.
You're welcome, Senator Francis Heidegger.
Good afternoon, colleagues, once again, testifiers and the people of this territory. The first question I want to ask, earlier during the testimony, it was shared, Commissioner Vellenor, that the cold case SWAT has about 3 persons on it. Could you please tell me approximately how many cases are currently cold cases, as well as what percentage of those cold cases are homicides?
Yeah, so most of the cold cases, most of what we're referring to would be homicides. I do not have the number of cold cases that we're looking at at this time. I can research that and get back with you. Number of cold cases.
Okay, you're not sure if it's in dozens, hundreds. You don't know right now.
I do not have
Okay.
I do not have the numbers for you, but it's beyond a few dozen.
Well, I think it would be nice when I could get that data. I think for me, it's also a personal situation because of the murder of my own brother, and knowing that it has been dead and gone into cold case for quite a few years and have not been able to get, follow-ups as to what's happening there. And I know there's a lot of people in this territory who have lost family members and have not really gotten information, and it has gone into cold case status. And we would really like to know what's happening so there could be some closure. In addition, on line 82 of your testimony, you speak of the Criminal Investigations Bureau is responsive to all major crimes and work to solve crimes through meticulous investigations. What is your rate of return on those investigations in comparison to all the effort that is put in getting convictions and solutions to those crimes? We can't hear you. We can't hear you, sir.
Yes,
Hold my time.
hold it, Senator. Time.
No, sir.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry about
Commissioner.
that.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, so yes, the rate in terms of the solvability rate, we kind of highlighted some basically on as we referenced, let's say the number of homicide versus the number of arrests. Some of the cases, Senator, we're not going to solve, meaning that there have been people who were perpetrators of the act that actually died. So through other acts of violence and the likes. But in addition to that, Senator, I will take this opportunity to also ask the community for us to be able to have even greater solvability rate really requires community involvement in assisting law enforcement. So again, I've also talked to members of this Senate regarding how crimes are solved.
Time.
And one of the way is through the community providing that assistance to be able to solve these cases.
okay. One more question, please.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Earlier, when we talked about the $20 million obligations that are being reimbursed, one of the things I wanted to find out was we spoke and we were told that Widow Bryan is assisting you guys. And hopefully I would get, through my point of inquiry, the information as to Widow Bryan's worksheet costs that were submitted. What I want to ask of you, what exactly does Widow Bryan assist you with? And is it an additional cost, or is their cost tied in to the $80+ million contract that they already have with the government?
So, Ms. Webster, can you answer this question?
Hi, this is Miss Webster. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
hear you.
go ahead.
It is our cost from Widow Bryan is paid through our management costs. So it's not an additional cost. It's already been accounted for through our management costs.
It's part of the overall contract with the government with Widow Bryan. So it doesn't cost the department anything additional.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Senator Francis Heiliger. Commissioner, before we
Francis Heiliger, you're up next for your 7 minutes. Please recognize the mic of Senator Francis Heiliger, please.
Oh, it's not. Good afternoon once again. I would like to say afternoon to my colleagues, the people of the territory, as well as the testifiers. Director Joshing, on line 68 of your testimony, you spoke to the past 2 years, an upgrade of the 911 Computer Aided Dispatch and Record Management System, CAD/RMS, has been underway. You also noted that it was to go online on February the 16th. Was it able to go online at that date? And if so, how successful has it been thus far? Yesterday.
Thank you, Senator, for that question. I'll turn it over to Deputy Director Bruce Kelly from the operations side. It's his bailiwick, and let him do the honors.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Senator. Thank you for the question. The system did go online yesterday, and it is progressing rather well. Just like any new system that is currently going online for the first time within the territory, it is not without its bumps and bruises, but we've got experts, individuals on ground to assist the operators in both district to work through those challenges. So it went online, and it is so far proven to be successful. Thank you.
And according to you guys, this is a definite upgrade to the system. Was text to 911 included in this upgrade?
If Director Kelly, you want me to answer that one, or you got that one?
Go ahead, sir.
The text to 911 is part of the next step of upgrading. You sort of had the basic 911, and you go to what's called E911, the next generation 911. So we're not there yet. There's a sort of an integrated approach part to this. We want to make sure we get this part done first under our belt and stabilize before we go to the next step. But there is a continual process to upgrade, ma'am.
Do you have a timeline as to when this is going to be implemented? When your next phase is
Not at this time. I want to basically watch what we have going on today. And like Deputy Director Kelly said, we have a lot of things we have to get under our belt before we do too many changes at one time. That's definitely one of the directions we want to go to.
Well, for me, I would not. I'm sorry, Director. For me, I would not have considered this too many changes because in the testimony, it seems like you're touting this upgrade as if they were going into modern times. So I expected this to be a part of it now because this is something that has been available and around since 2014. It's also been a requirement for any call center that requires it as based on the FCC since 2016. So when you're telling me that you have a system that just went online yesterday that is an upgrade, I would have assumed that this would have been standard as opposed to you now telling me we have to figure it out and then implement it after. So that's why I thought it was part of this big rollout. But I expect to, and I look forward to hearing when it's going to be rolled out in the future, hopefully in short order. The second thing I want to ask you has to do with the FEMA said that the EOC is not considered. Let me make sure I get the right line number on line 76, not 76. I want to make sure. Okay, line 141. I wrote all of these down. It speaks to the EOC not considered a critical infrastructure under FEMA, and I know one of the individuals was speaking to that. Is this something that is permanent, or is this something that you can work on, or they're just saying it's not going to happen?
I see Deputy Director Blasio shaking his head. Steve, you want to go ahead and answer that one, please?
Yes, according to FEMA, we're not going to be able to build out that entire building as was projected in the project to the P361 safe room standard.
Okay.
That's where the issue came in, that we are not eligible to build a building to that standard. We could build just a safe room for the occupants of the building to that standard, but not the whole building. Ms. Rivera, Graciela Rivera, if you want to jump in any further elaboration on that.
No, Didi de Blasio, you covered it.
Thank you. On line 116, you spoke about you spoke about the 3 designated locations needing emergency generators. With VITEMA Emergency Services Fund for 2021, jump down to 121. VITEMA will maintain these generators throughout hurricane season and return them back to the fleet following the end of hurricane season, November 31st, 2021. Just for educational purposes, November only has 30 days. But explain a little bit as to where these locations are, and what do you mean by you have to return them to the fleet?
Senator, these are only identified to go at sites the Department of Human Services has identified to be shelters. These are evacuation shelters. So that focuses on that for the purpose of hurricane season. You know, these are usually Department of Education. They do not have shelters. It's not having generators there. That's their call, education. I won't get involved with that conversation, but in order for me to stand up a shelter, I need to have a backup emergency generator there and operational. The nice thing about this year, we're looking at having that set up on by the 1st of June.
Okay.
And running through the hurricane season, like you said, 30 November. And previously we had to basically rent them and then hopefully get them set up right after we had a threat, and then return that back with funds. So from the CARES Act funds purchasing these, we have really reestablished a tremendous capability we've not had in the past, but it's not there for that permanent facility to other than support the shelter.
Thank you. I have a major concern with our tsunami system, and I'll explain to you why. After the hurricanes, I was one of those individuals that was doing some work on the internet, and I just saw a flash come across Google search telling me tsunami warning. Literally, that was the only warning I got. I instantly gathered everyone, jumped in the car, and raced up to get to the highest hill. I was a little bit confused because I understood after the hurricanes there was some damage. May I continue? There was some damage to the tsunami system. And for me, that was a very frightening situation because I said, wow, what if something did hit? A lot of people potentially would have died that day. The question I want to ask you, we are now in 2021. I understand you're saying that there's some additional need for some $70K for repair. Why is it taking so long to repair this system when it's something so needed here in the territory?
Well, Senator, it's a process we're going through with the normal recovery process of this was one of the first projects that came out approved, first of all. The second of all, I want to let you know there's several other ways by which you get advance notices. One of the fallacies of those alarms systems, they're going to wake you up in bed. They're not going to wake you up in bed, okay? They're not going to wake you up unless you're basically, sleeping on the beach. And that's what I want. Part of the education we put out last year, we had all the earthquakes in Puerto Rico, was understanding the limits beyond that tsunami warning system. Right now, if that's the only means by which you have for education, to get that, I think we need to educate ourselves a little bit more. The alert VI system is warnings also. The other thing is you need to find out what height level or elevation you are at to see if you're already what's considered a tsunami safe zone or evacuation zone. That's why we have the maps and education outreach that Ms. Brown does. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people hanging their hats on the success for that. That's only one of several ways by which you receive notification for an alert. Now remember, tsunamis can be very local. In a matter of 1867 between St. Thomas and St. Croix, we had 2 of them based on 7.2 earthquakes, and they both hit St. Thomas and St. Croix. They can be regional, which you have a couple hours, or they can be longer distance, you have almost days until a tsunami reaches. The other concern is what height is it going to be? We saw the pictures over in Japan, 30 feet height. The one we had recently last year was like 6 inches that was over by Jamaica that came out. And yes, the alert came out. It's a very good system they have set up. The Pacific Tsunami Warning System after an earthquake gives us a notice to be aware of that, and hopefully we are able to get that information and react accordingly. But great information, ma'am.
Thank you for that statement. Why does it take so long at this point to get it repaired? That's what I asked.
I'd say one, we've gone to steel poles. That was a big change over the the old WAPA poles, I would say. So we had to get those literally configured and ordered and shipped back down from the States.
Okay.
That consumed a lot of money. So that was really the biggest factor it took to actually build out that, let's say for each district is going to be about 8 weeks. Well, at least St. Croix and St. Thomas, 8 weeks, and then Water Island and St. John. So that's it. Once we get going on it, that's really the time it's going to take to build it. The long tent, pole in the tent, so to speak, was getting those poles put up. I know Deputy Director Blasio can talk all about it, but we've been talking poles for 2 years now.
Yeah. Well, while you're talking about poles, public safety is still an issue. So that's why I am looking forward to hearing that there's some start date, and hopefully we get a date for the end date as well. Thank you very much for your responses.
Thank you very much for your line of questioning, Senator Francis Heidegger. Senator.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Afternoon. Hi, how are you guys? I am new to this body. And one of the things that I fought 8 years to get here for was to protect and serve the people of this territory. I've worked in this institution for 22 years as an employee. And I've watched a lot of these hearings over the years and listened to the craziness and sometimes the stories. But being in this seat today, I literally just felt like somebody kicked me in my chest. I literally felt like somebody kicked me in my chest just now. I come here with all the good intentions in the world to serve the people of this territory. And the only thing we ask of the different agencies and departments that come here, tell us the facts so we could take those facts and change laws, implement policies to help the people of this territory. That's our only job. But when you come and you tell us a bold-faced lie, and now it potentially could cost people their lives, you will never get Alma Alicia Francis de Freitas Heiliger to accept this kind of craziness. You will never get that. I came here to protect this territory. And you do not have the right or the authority to come into this first branch of government and lie to any of the 15 senators here. You do not have that right. None. And I'm going to ask the chairman, sir, from now on, when we have people as a member of this particular committee, please swear them in. Because we have to start acting like the first branch of government. We cannot continue allowing people to disrespect us and wonder why this community respect for this institution is diminished. They put 15 people in here to protect them. I came here to do that job. And I am never going to sit in this institution and allow any of you to come in here, because when you lie to me, you lie to 100,000 people, and I am not tolerating it. Do not come here and lie to this institution. I am a Virgin Islander. I was born and raised here. Respect this institution. Stop it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you Thank you for that, Senator, Senator Francis, for the very passionate plea. Senator, you're recognized for your 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon again. Assistant Director Peterson, I have a quick question. I know you spoke earlier to the aggressive recruitment process. Could you explain to us exactly what goes into attempting to recruit individuals for operators of the 911 system? What's the process?
The process starts with the Division of Personnel. It is advertised through their system because it is a classified position unionized. So when there are vacancies, because it doesn't lend to recruiting when we don't have vacancies. So if we have vacancies, we start the recruitment with personnel. They test from their end, and they then drill down on who is qualified. Then when they pass that test through personnel, then they actually come in and do testing. And I can't describe the actual testing that personnel puts them through, but they do a written test and they do a verbal test as well.
Okay.
And then it drills down to that. Then it comes to us by TEMA to go through the interviewing process. So once they've gone through those 2 or 3 benchmarks, then we actually do an interview to determine if this is a good fit. The persons who sit in on that interview are the center manager, which we have Ms. Ferron on St. Croix and Ms. Potter on St. Thomas, myself, the Deputy Director of Human Resources and Labor Relations, and Deputy Director Kelly. So we do an interview with them, and then we decide from there. After that person is selected, then we go through the background checks. We send that information through. Did you want me to stop?
No, I get the gist of it. Because Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. On line 224 of your testimony, Director Joshin, it speaks to the requirement of the VI code that VITEMA holds a monthly emergency management council meeting. It says for the past 11 months, these meetings have been conducted. I want to know how productive are these meetings for you? Or do you feel they help you? Or do you feel it's just you're doing it because it's a requirement of the code?
Senator, it's definitely not because the requirement of the code, first of all. This is a chance for the leadership of the territory to come together and talk about, at the senior leadership, Governor Bryan level, Lieutenant Governor Roach's level, Chief of Staff level, to talk about what are our challenges, what are our gaps, and how do we fix these. Governor Bryan always looks around and talks to everybody and says, look, I'm asking you whether you're ready to go, not ready to go. I don't need yes persons. I want someone to tell me what the gap is because I'm holding you accountable going forward in your responsibilities for your agencies, whether it's by TEMA, Department of Health, Human Services, Property and Procurement. The other part is it's a very strong team that we come together. Even though it's virtual, we do a lot of behind the scenes discussions. Tomorrow we have one, and the focus right now is on sheltering as well as mass vaccination. Commissioner Kazi Gomez, Commissioner Tite Encarnacion, those are our focuses right now, as well as we'll talk a little bit about where we stand for critical infrastructure. But it's 2 hours. There's a purpose behind it. It's not just getting together and talking about it. There's always an agenda. It's recorded. Governor Bryan takes it very seriously. But it's definitely a chance to talk about what our gaps are. And we want our partners to come up and also with us and talk about that. I think in the last year I've been involved with this. We learned a lot with Microsoft Teams as opposed to having people crunched in a room. We're able to have good dialogue, good discussion like we are today on a platform. You get multiple people on it to really get the information across.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that it's benefiting you in turn, benefiting the people of this territory. Well, in closing, I want to say thank you to the testifiers, at least for myself. This is my last round. I want to thank you guys for coming here and sharing your testimony with us. The only thing I'm going to request is that and this is for any testifiers heading to this chambers, just please be as open and frank with us. Because the more information we can gather, the better we can help serve this community. The better we can help your agency to give you the tools, the necessary monies and funding that you need. Because ultimately, when you do better, the community does better. And if there's ever a situation where you don't know something, just say that. I'll accept it. We don't have to go into details of untruths. And then unfortunately, sometimes when these things happen, you open a Pandora's box that could potentially lead to even somebody's death. And I don't want that on my conscience, especially here in this institution. So thank you very much for your testimony. And I am looking forward to speaking to you guys in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your line of questioning. Senator Alma Francis Heidegger, Senator Kenneth Gittins.